And welcome back, everyone. I'm pre-recording a couple videos for tomorrow. That way I can get to the one what if I didn't do today, because it's late at night right now, and the who wins are not going to take very long for me to do. They never do. So I'm going to do those real quick. I mean, 5-10 minutes. Still, I'm going to take my time, enough time to do the video. But then I'm going to get this. So that means tomorrow I'll just have the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare review, the short what if I have tomorrow, and then today's what if that I didn't get around to doing today, and we'll be all caught up. So coming to us, I was shocked by this, shocked, and maybe if I go through it again, I'll be able to find another person to give me the suggestion. Only from Gruel_Guildgate, Kenpachi versus Kisame. I could have sworn on my life that some more than one person to give me the suggestion, but that's not the case. These two are kind of the comparable opposites to each other. They are hulking juggernaut swordsmen of mass amounts of energy, vicious, love combat, and are extremely hard to put down. But who's the harder to put down? Now, if I remember correctly, I think you had given me the question of pre-Thousand Year Blood War arc, Kenpachi, not after that or during that series. So let's just get it out of the way right now. Post Thousand Year Blood Warrior arc Kenpachi or beyond, Kisame is getting clapped, like straight out clapped. Kenpachi is on a level where he's able to go toe to toe with individuals who threaten the fabric of reality with their power. He's capable of going toe to toe. He's capable of literally cutting through the fabric of space. His power is so great that it literally hinders other people's abilities just by being around him. So yeah, there's the level of power Kenpachi is outputting in Camp Hero World, the 10 years after the main series, all that. There's no way Kisame can match that. So let's backtrack to the strongest version of Kenpachi we have up until the Thousand Year Blood War arc, which would be technically the Fullbring arc, which now that I say that out loud, I guess is technically, I mean, because I can't remember how long the Fullbring arc, the Thousand Year Blood War arc takes after the Fullbring arc. I know it's relatively close to each other, so the level of power is probably the same. So let's backtrack one more then and go to Fake Kurotown arc, where he was able to go toe to toe with Yami, who was the Zero Espada. All right. With that being said, let's actually compare these two, and let's do it more like their arsenal, what they have under their belt, all that. So in terms of physicality, this one I would probably get to Kenpachi. Besides the fact he can strengthen his body with his Ryatsu, he's just naturally, like physically unnaturally strong. Now, I don't know if his raw strength ever got greater as the series went on, or it was just his natural raw strength. For example, to use a Thousand Year Bloody War arc feat, he was able to literally lift Gerard Valkyrie, who dwarfed skyscrapers with one hand. Now, that being said, even if he's not capable of that feat, we've seen him do, honestly, feats very similar to that. He was willing to go toe to toe with the Sajin Komamura's Bankai, which means he probably could easily take the thing down if he really wanted to. And based on what we know of Kenpachi, that's probably true. Komamura's not that strong compared to other captains. But he was easily handling Yami, who was also like dwarfed Kenpachi. Like if my thumb down here, right here is Kenpachi, that was Yami. Like, and he was easily handling him, no problem. Kisame is durable, and he even has a healing factor thanks to Samahata to a certain degree. But he is a lot easier to take down comparatively. It's just easier to damage him. He just has a normal body versus Kenpachi, who it's actually hard just to damage him unless you're of relative strength or Ryatsu. Sorry, there's a my dog unfortunately has had some accidents on the floor, and I've tried to clean it up, but for some reason it's not 100% gone. So I'm kind of tasting the fumes. Ugh. I apologize. That's information you didn't need to know, but there you go. But let's talk about what I just talked about. Their energy levels, Ryatsu versus Chakra. Now, really, these two are not that dissimilar from each other. In fact, we know for a fact that spiritual energy, Ryatsu, makes up Chakra, is 1/2 to 1/3 Chakra, depending if you're using Senjutsu or not. Chakra is physical and spiritual in nature. or energy. So at least in base concept, chakra, Ryatsu in theory is a part of chakra to some degree. So these two should, so the energy should be able to combat each other. But who has the greater amount of energy? That is a difficult thing to quantify, unfortunately, when it comes to characters like Kenpachi and Kisame. We know Kisame, just his natural chakra reserves, are comparable to that of a tail beast, which has God knows the umpteenth level of reserves. That being said, most tail beasts can create a tail beast bomb with their chakra and fire it, and it goes off like a nuke. So Kisame, while not having necessarily, the ability to create a nuke, it would have comparable chakra to a tail beast that can do something like that. And that's not even including the amount of chakra that Samahata steals for itself and then gives back to Same. So the question then would become, where exactly does Kenpachi stand on that? And again, that's difficult to say. However, we can gauge at least a little bit of the idea of where Kenpachi's power lies, because Kenpachi, we know, could go toe to toe. Probably honestly killed Yami on his own if he really needed to. Now, this is important to note because we can compare Yami to someone like Ugiura, who had a second release, and when he used his second release, it literally felt like an ocean was covering the entirety of Las Noches. Furthermore, the top four, should say 4/5, if you count Yami, I guess. Though I guess I wonder why Yami is barred from doing this. Otherwise, the top 4 Espada are forbidden to release their resurrections in Las Noches because they might risk blowing the damn thing up. This basically leans to the idea that because Las Noches is like the size of a small country, if I'm not mistaken. Which means if they risk blowing it up and Kenpachi can go toe-to-toe with someone like Yami, this would mean he is well above at least a nuke's capability of power. And even so, Kisame has a lot of energy. So, I mean, the most generous scenario I could think of here is to say that they tie on a level of power or energy output. But I'd lean more towards Kenpachi on that. But what about swordsmanship and skill? Well, because we can't give him Nozarashi in this scenario here, we just got to go with sheer swordsmanship for both of them. And in that regard, Kenpachi still wins in swordsmanship. But once you take out sheer skill with the sword, sheer durability and endurance and strength, and the Ryatsu, this is where Kisame starts to take the W's over Kenpachi, because he has far more versatility under his belt. Constant source of water, as he can just literally spit out a lake whenever he wants to. He's got constant diversity. He has Samahata, which is far more versatile and dangerous of a blade than a base for a Nozarashi that is not released, due to the fact that it can actually feed on chakra. And this would be a key factor in this fight, I think. Samehada feeding on Kenpachi's Ryatsu. First off, it should theoretically be able to at least feed partially on it. There are certain things Samehada can't feed on, like it cannot eat fire chakra. We know that. It's too hot. In fact, I don't think it eats elemental chakra to begin with. But Kenpachi's Ryatsu is not elemental. It's, again, Ryatsu theoretically is a base component, or spiritual energy is a base component of chakra. So by all accounts, it should at least be able to eat partially some of it. The question is just simply, can he eat all of it? And then you go into the fact that he can also merge with Samehada, creating the hybrid shark form, which has all the abilities of Samehada inside that water bubble. Then you also go under the idea of, then you also go with the knowledge that he is a trained ninja, so he is trained in stealth. He is actually probably more intelligent overall than Kenpachi, just intellect-wise. But combat-wise, they're probably about equal. Kenpachi is a very versatile combatant when he wants to be. He just prefers hack and slash. So, on a versatility standpoint, Kisame's got the edge. And arguably a skill standpoint and everything but straight swordsmanship, Kisame's got the edge. But in terms of power, probably raw energy output, and skill in the sword, Kenpachi, and, physicality, Kenpachi holds the edge there. So, if these two met in combat, what would happen? Well, because Kenpachi likes to draw out the fight as much as he can, him and Kisame are probably going to be duking it out for a while. Again, under the assumption that Kisame can see him, no problem. Everyone brings that up. But yeah, so these guys would be duking out. Kisame would be throwing like water clones at him, throwing water sharks at him. And when he throws the water shark, Kenpachi would actually get a lot more excited. Like, it bites into him. Maybe he's actually able to draw some blood. Like, and Kenpachi's like, "Now we're talking, yeah!" Just slices it up. They clash again, just boom. Eventually, the eye patch would come off. Like, eventually it would. It just has to in this fight. And his power erupts. And Kasame is just surprised by the sheer output of this guy's energy. Like, holy crap. And even Samahada is like trying to absorb it and he can't absorb all of it. It's like, well, and it's like, oh, so you're absorbing my Ryatsu. That's pretty smart. But how much of that can you absorb? And he just comes in. And the minute he brings his blade down, even if Samahada can absorb the chakra, it can't absorb an impact. It's not like a vibranium or anything like that. So that blade comes down and just goes boom, and you get a shockwave of energy and power, and Samahada would risk getting cut in half. Like, Kisame is smart enough to be honest, I can't take another hit from Samahada. I can't take another hit from that guy. So he like gets the water doves like, and like Kenpachi's in the water. What? And it's like, it's over. I'm gonna take every ounce of your chakra. Then Kenpachi's like, huh. It's like, please, and just splits the water in two, and Kisame probably gets split in half. And if Kenpachi needs to, he can add to another hand and, times two his power on that. Now, I mean, he'd get spleen bits for a while, but eventually he would just shink. And now Kisame could recover from that, but it would be at this point that Kisame is just, he's probably realizing he can't do much to this guy. Samahada is really not going to be able to shred him very well. It's just not, Kenpachi's just not someone where that would work. His skin's usually too durable. Even if he is able to get some damage in, it's probably just going to be like light damage, like a cheese grater. So it's like, chink, that kind of hurt. Chink. Even though, and I never mentioned speed or reflexes on that. Honestly, you might be able to consider that a wash. Like sheer speed, we've seen Kenpachi actually be pretty fast, and he actually does have Shimpo, as we learn. Of course, that's later. We find that in the Can't Fear Your Own World novel, so whether he has it at this point in time is debatable. But he does have Shimpo, which is basically light speed. It's more or less light speed. And we know for a fact that Kenpachi can catch Seros with his bare hand. Seros are basically, are confirmed to base more or less be light speed at most of the time. So Kenpachi at minimum has subsonic to low light speed levels of reaction time. And unfortunately, Kisame was barely able to dodge a pen imbued with lightning. So yeah, speed and reflexes wise, Kenpachi's going to take that edge too. So yeah, I think really, even if you were to even if you're able to lowball Kenpachi all the way down to Soul Society, that would be your best bet for Kisame to win. And even then, I don't think it's likely. Because even then, Kenpachi is still overwhelmingly stronger than most characters in Naruto at that point. I comment on this every once in a while, but Death Battle, I think, has really underplayed the power scaling of Bleach in that world. In Death Battle, both the Bleach fights we've had have been against Naruto characters, and they seem to very much be under the assumption that Naruto verse is stronger than the Bleach verse, and that is just not the case at all. I mean, I'm sorry if you disagree. And if you disagree, at least give me an argument. Don't just say you're wrong. The best way to prove to me that you don't have an argument is to not make an argument. That's basically it. But no, it's just there's just been much clearer levels of power shown and higher levels of power shown in Bleach than there have been in Naruto. Whether you're talking about just taking out the Soul King and the Royal Guard, even all the Soul Reapers, they have to be careful, especially like the more powerful ones, have to be careful about affecting other dimensions with their powers. So yeah, I digress though. I would go Kenpachi in this fight, but it would be a fun fight to see. This would be one of those ones I'd definitely be interested in seeing. But keep in mind, this is before Can't Fear Your Own World. Can't Fear Your Own World and Thousand Year Blood War arc. So we're dealing with just Hueco Mundo Kenpachi at that point. Like I said, if we went Thousand Year Blood War arc, Can't Fear Your Own World, Kisame doesn't stand ghost of a chance, because then you're giving Kenpachi even more power, jacked up to umpteenth degrees, and a Shikai and a Bankai at that point. At that point, Kisame's done. Because you throw Nozarashi at Samahara, and it's good night, Irene. So, yeah. I digress. So, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you next time.